Hey there, it's Ryan Skaggs, and this is First Time Home Buyer. This is video 3. We're going to talk about down payment, the percentage needed, the amounts needed, right? So hopefully you enjoyed the first 2 videos where we talked about kind of introduction to down payment assistance, grants, things like that. Last video we talked about the benefits. Today we're going to talk about down payment assistance. Down payment in general. So if you see what's the words behind me, first is FHA. So 2023, it's June of 2023. Typically, the minimum down payment needed for FHA is 3.5% down. A lot of first-time home buyers think, I need to go FHA because I have very, very little to put down. That is incorrect. If you can qualify for a conventional loan, and again, contact your loan officer, talk to him or her about, do I qualify? What do I qualify for? What type of loan is it? Conventional would be words like Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. Now, conventional, if you're a first-time home buyer, you can put as little as 3% down. So 3.5 or 3, which is less? Conventional, right? So therefore, your lease down payment potentially would be conventional, not FHA, right? So that's why I share that with you. So a lot of times if you can go to 5% down, you're going to find some additional benefits in terms of lower mortgage insurance rates, things like that. You're going to potentially have a slightly better rate from a 5% down to the 3% down. And that all has to do with risk. So 3% down, less skin in the game, 5% down, a little bit more. So those thresholds for down payment are 3%, 5%, 10%, 15, 20, and then obviously on. What I mean by the threshold is that if you put 3% down to 4.9% down, you're in the same bucket for pretty much all policies and or underwriting or rates or terms or things like that. So if you're 3 to 4.99%, you're in that same bucket. Then you get 5% to 9.99. That's your next bucket. You're going to have exactly the same. So sometimes people look at it and go, I want to put 7 or 8% down. I go, why? You're not going to get anything better. Your benefit by putting just a little bit more down but not meeting that next threshold is to keep your monthly payment below a specific threshold. What I would tell you as a first-time home buyer is if you're trying to structure it just underneath and you got to put another 1% down, next year when property taxes come out, your payment could change. It could go up, it could go down. So all the work that you did to make sure that payment is exactly where you needed it will change in the future. So why go that far up front? Why put extra money in regards to I'd rather have you have that in an emergency fund in a savings account, and then if you need to dip in $50 or $100 each month or something like that with your savings account, it's a lot easier if it's sitting in savings than it's already sunk into the property. So next we're going to talk about kind of down payment assistance. I do want to make sure and mention USDA. Now, in the greater Chicagoland area, there's pretty much, I haven't dealt with USDA very often. I grew up in rural Indiana. There's plenty of opportunities for USDA. That is the U.S. Department of Agriculture. You might think it's like a farming loan. It is not. It is a residential loan for more rural areas where you're not close to any metropolitan areas. USDA can do as little as 0% down. 0, that's right. So 0% down. So now when we look at down payment assistance, this can reduce off of your cash to close. So if you have, say, 3% down or 5% down, you need to make sure and be able to show that those funds that you have available, but the down payment assistance here can reduce off of that. So if you're getting a grant, and again, we talked about what a grant is in video 1, that would reduce off that. Now, in the next one, seller credit. So if you see here, a seller could credit some of the closing costs for you that can reduce your down payment. Now, in a seller's market where sellers are really kind of driving negotiations and there's a lot of buyer demand, that's tougher to do, right? It's tougher to be able to get a seller to shell out a few thousand to cover some closing costs for you. Now, in a buyer's market where you're the only buyer and the seller is just thankful that, they found you and you're making a below ask offer potentially, that is a great opportunity to get a seller credit. So in combination with down payment assistance and seller credit here, you may be able to reduce your cash to close a little to none. The last one here that we want to talk about is gift. Can I get a gift? How would that work? Absolutely you can. You could have a family member gift the entire down payment for you. So if you're putting 3% down, they could gift you the funds. But you need to show that you have your own money for the transaction. Pretty much a policy for all lenders across the board. You need to apply to get credit qualified and check with your lender to how their policies work. But with that said, someone can gift you the funds, but you need to have your own funds. You need to have your own checking savings account that has some money in it to be able to show you have your own skin in the game, right? If you have $1 to your name and someone else is giving you money, how would that set you up for success, right? So that's what these policies are in place for. So between down payment assistance, seller credit, and gift, easily you can be a first-time home buyer and come to the table with $0. Again, you got to have your own. You got to structure it right. It's got to be the right market. But I have done many times before structured down payment assistance, a small seller credit, and maybe that first-time home buyer is getting a small gift from, say, a family member or something, and they're coming to the table with literally $0. So if you're out there as a first-time home buyer and you're thinking, oh my gosh, I don't have a lot saved, contact a lender. My info's below. Find somebody that's trusted by your agent and get the conversation started, because that should not give you pause. Understand you still need to have a reserve account. You still need to have emergency funds, but don't let that stop you from at least having a conversation. So this is video 3 of down payment. Video 4, we're gonna talk about finding the grants. What kind of terminology, what are these? Where are they found? What do you ask for in video 4? So thanks so much for tuning in.